So, welcome to round two of the Rat Training Tournament. In this first game, we have Rusto on Empire and the 28th Knight on the Chaos Dwarves. So, like before, just as a quick reminder, these videos are going to focus less on issues with micro and trying to figure out what the kind of macro level strategy is. So, we're gonna be questioning, okay, how does one side win in any given moment? And we'll do two videos again in this one, and we'll do a part two with two videos in the next one. Okay, so again, we kind of play this exercise a couple times of saying, imagine that you just loaded in, you see your opponent's army. You know, there are a lot of hidden elements right now, but what are you gonna do? So that's the first step we'll take with every battle. So if you're the Empire, you have cannons, you have spearmen, you have great swords. You probably just want to post the cannons up, get them some good targets, maybe even deploy over here for better, for good lines of sight, shooting to points 1 and point 2, and yeah. And I like the addition of the Outriders grenade launchers, and this unit might be a little vulnerable, but I'm liking that they're playing and with the net. It's a good idea too. These are a great unit for capturing the points early. Probably seeing some of your opponent's army while you're still hidden, you want to get away from there. In fact, even seeing the threat of the grenade launcher, you might want to just capture this point until you can summon some skirm cav. That's a good point to make, that the skirm cav is a little better than these at capturing the points, because they'll stay out of range and they'll do enough poke back. And yeah, so we have a really melee heavy Chaos Dwarf force. So this is a good idea. We're just gonna push up to the middle, control the middle and a side point, and I think that'll work well. And we can just double check what magic real quick. We have the Grey Wizard with these two, Pit of Shades and Melkoth, Gordos with actually a pretty big kit, and Cascading Fire Cloak, the hammer. No, that's his item, the Burning Wrath. So quite an expensive Lord combination. So first prediction of the game, these three units, well, even just this one unit destroys this, then this one goes over here, destroys this, and then finally the forces get here and they clash in the middle. As Chaos Dwarves, I'm thinking about maybe summoning artillery to counterfire if I think I have good lines of sight, if I can hide behind some of these hills. Some of these hills are probably big enough to block a cannon shot, or skirm cav, like I said, to kill these. And then if I'm Empire, I kind of like my starting army into this. I may be thinking about maybe something like Knights of Black Rose, or maybe some more great swords to just trade into this infantry heavy, or even pick off some more with the Outriders while you have some time. Wow, that did a lot of damage actually. That wasn't a terrible trade, honestly, in the end. These guys, I think, outrange these guys. Yeah, they do by 30 meters. It's not a bad idea, just to even it out. You're about to get netted, though. And net. Do we have the net? And there it is. So similar idea to the Skirm Cav, where we're going to send something fast to contest, but because we need to get it in melee, it kind of set us up for this net approach. Gortys will probably be good at killing Marcus at some point, but you definitely got to be careful while he's still set up here. And so kind of as predicted now, we're swinging this around. Outriders are a great skirm unit because they can just bounce and fire while moving. Makes them really... You don't need to sit there and shoot. Although I guess the stalk part does make them a little bit more resilient. I didn't really think about that. Makes them a little bit harder to poke down. Astrogoth probably wants to be jumping on the grenade launchers. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was saying. This is probably a good trade for Gortys. These guys are not incredibly great against these guys. Okay, so anyways, this nice Pit of Shades. Okay, so we've gone in a little bit. We've gotten a little bit more shooting. A similar idea to just kind of pick apart the Infernal Guard, like, you know, some of the infantry. I think this makes a lot of sense. It's hard for the Chaos Dwarves to get around to get on this unit. Yeah, maybe this is not quite right because I see into the Empire Knights. Maybe not a terrible choice actually then. This is definitely the best thing on the roster to deal with Chaos Knights. So right, and how are we deploying? I'm worried that the Empire player is deploying too much forces to this side. I think 2 spearmen are probably enough, where we want like most of our forces perhaps contesting here in the middle, or if we're Empire, we just wait back here a little bit longer and try to continue to play the trading game. Also, damn, look at how much damage Gortys has done. Now that you have this unit in too, it definitely makes sense to wait until this unit is here to support. Maybe get him up here, take point 1, form a line like here, and then being shooting into 2. You might feel a little time pressure as Empire, but because you have this point and you'll soon have this point, you're actually not in a rush to engage. If you are Chaos Dwarves, I think you do want to engage. You want to force this question. Let's say that we kind of start to collapse on this and we say infantry are going to trade up. For the most part, maybe the great swords will do well, but with the Centaur unit, after it's cleared out the Empire Knights, it can also find really good targets on the great swords. And yeah, we might want to even consider if we're Chaos Dwarves to start summoning some more cav to come shut down the cannons, and even this here. The cannons finally found a home, but it was a little bit tricky. So now we've kind of diverged. I think this is a good idea. Maybe even the hobgoblins can get on to one of the spearmen if you like find a good place to do that, or maybe even just swing him around. But it's probably wise not to take the fight immediately. We've kind of turned into a blob fight over here, which is kind of interesting, and also is a good thing to notice from the Chaos Dwarf player, 28th Knight, that Marcus is out here isolated and kind of easy pickings. And yeah, and more Empire Knights aren't really going to save you now that the Centaurs are here. They'll definitely temporarily save Marcus, but actually his net's probably up again soon. But this is has been a pretty good fight for Chaos Dwarfs. Cannons have just become problematic because now there's a high value target and this shooting. And yeah, so something similar to what I suggested happened, where now we have this line where before I was suggesting something like this, but a very similar idea. And now we've set up our shooting. I don't really know what the Bill Taurus. I mean, this thing is expensive. This is basically a dragon. We might get a better pick on Marcus. We might get a better pick on the Grey Wizard. We might be able to chase down Outriders. We might be able to dive it on the long rifles. Honestly, I can kind of see why this pick might make sense, but it's going to have a lot of work cut out for it, because it needs to... it's going to need to get on the shooting, otherwise just die to it. So I'm worried that this unit will end up giving a little too much value to Chaos Dwarves. And yeah, and as Empire, I think we're filling in this position. I think these 3 units are enough to like hold most of the Chaos Dwarfs at bay. So I want most of my summons now to somehow support. So like maybe we're filling in with a few more spearmen. Maybe we're summoning like, I don't know, Griffin Knights or something. Griffin Halberds. Yeah, just to fill in this position and hold it down. And yeah, see, these spearmen are now... you probably want to rotate one of these spearmen around. All right, Bale Taurus has finally gotten here. Goros is in trouble. Marcus has been remarkably slippery somehow, even with both characters. Bull Centaur renders have gone to the middle as opposed to continuing in this chase and compromising backline. I mean, one of the nice parts about the Bull Centaurs is like, okay, well, if I had moved them, if 20th Knight had moved them over here towards the missiles, what do you have as Empire to shut them down? You'd have maybe a net and maybe the long rifles, but you can't block them up with Empire Knight. So swinging them around and getting onto the backfield would have been really, really strong there. The Taurus has made it. It'll take a pretty long time to kill cannons too. It's not like a... yeah, maybe Astrogoth just goes and charges into the long rifles. The Outrider is actually a nice... This feels like a nice unit too here. Outrider actually could do some work to the Bull Centaurs if you're willing to babysit it. So it's still trying to munch. These units are also very good at killing great swords. Just because they have the anti-large doesn't mean they're not also good at that. Okay, so this feels like kind of another pivotal point in the battle where a lot of the infantry have disappeared, and we've sort of turned into these like pockets of fighting. So the Chaos Dwarves have definitely maybe not been quite consolidated enough here, so they were able to get kind of this is a good idea finally coming in. But yeah, if we're Chaos Dwarves, I think we need more infantry. We need to regroup or kill some of these missiles and then get on to the get back to point 2 with some infantry. Unfortunately, this map is very large, so it's pretty hard to summon like durable infantry to the center on this map for Chaos Dwarves. So like sneaky gets are very important for Chaos Dwarves. For Empire, you're doing a great job. Like, so I was saying earlier about like consolidating this force. For the most part, everything is really nicely working together, with the maybe the minor detail of like this being waiting to kind of collapse. So maybe we just need a couple spearmen. Maybe we move the spearmen back. Maybe we place this great sword on top of the long rifles just in case. But yeah, so it looks like the fight has kind of swung to the, just in a short period of time. This might be a little overreaction for the Chaos Dwarf player too. And yeah, I think this is not necessarily the right approach. Okay, finally this is happening, which is really good. Why are you slow? So if this had happened a little bit earlier, I think this whole situation would have gone really nicely for Chaos Dwarves. This maybe is okay, but oh, we did have some Demogryph Knights, not Griffin Knights, Demogryph. I get the idea it'll like kill the great swords and we'll kind of be able to run amok in the backfield, but we already had the Bale Taurus for that. And see how the Bale Taurus is still working on killing this one cannon, and it has three or four models still alive after all this time. So yeah, I think we really needed some more, maybe light cav, or maybe just another unit of bull centaurs to do what this one has done, which is just destroy the Empire Knights and bought enough time for Astragoth to fight. And so we've consolidated this point, and I think if you're Chaos Dwarves, you need to come, and you need to come over here, and you need to go quickly. The time is still good for both players. There's still time to make differences. By the way, I really approve of this choice. I think this is good into maybe this as well as the bull centaurs. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Just took from the hammer of the witches. Yeah, so this one I maybe would have liked it instead of the train, or instead of the Bale Taurus. Both of them have done fine, but maybe both of them here is a little too much, and I think we need cap weight soon for the Chaos Dwarves. And yeah, I mean, I like that Empire keeps, I feel like Empire keeps returning to this like strong consolidated center where we've, where Rusto is doing a good job, like sticking to his guns, literally, and keeping these units online, which I think is helping a lot to make a big difference in the fight. It's just so hard to compromise when you have the Demogryph Knights, you have Spearmen, you have Great Swords, you have Empire Knights, and all of it is kind of working together to keep the shooting going. And you really only need a couple of shooting units to win a game. A couple of these like high value shooting units. This is kind of what I was alluding to earlier about, making some quick dives. That's nice. I like that. There's a good little pick there. Wow, that did a lot of damage. Astragoth's playing with fire. I think we're about to see why. Astragoth has just reminded the Empire that he's there. He looks like he's getting away by the skinniest bits of his teeth. And yeah, I think the Empire will hold this because, although finally we get this, this is a really nice combination of the Wolf Riders and the Centaurs. I actually like this a lot myself, because they synergize very nicely together. But this, now we see it in this late game, kind of what I was mentioning before, where it's like these two units will probably kill this unit, they'll kill that unit, they'll kill this unit. But I think it's a little too late. I don't think we have enough on the battlefield anymore for Chaos Dwarves. We have very little infantry. The monsters, the train's still here, but the monsters are gone. The Bale Taurus is gone. And we need to capture this point. We can't move off of it yet. We can't really afford that. Again, good usage of the Outriders to put damage on a difficult unit to get rid of.
Glorious. You have killed
The right
an
idea.
enemy lord.
Maybe just a little too late again. And the lore dying will be really tough. Yeah, so good game. I think where Empire won this was by keeping their shooting formations really compact, and getting the right units to the right places. Some pointers for Empire is you could have maybe gotten a little more compact, have a little bit more, we call it like prophylaxis in chess, which means like having things where they need to be before they're needed there. And from the chaos, we did have a death streak. And from the Chaos Dwarves, I would say maybe the Hobgoblins at the beginning made it a little rough. But I think we just needed to find that one plan. I think we just needed to find that one plan of getting into the backfield with Bull Centaurs and the Wolf Riders. So I'll just show the values real quick. Grenade launchers did very well. So the problem with the sneaky get openings, if your opponent is ready to counter it, you can really struggle. And yeah, see, this unit just does so much damage. You really only need this one unit, and it can probably win you a game if everything else is trading equal. Outriders did very well, and these were a good tech because they played a very important role, which is like something that the Bull Centaurs can't just walk over. The Bale Taurus got a lot of value, but I would say that it wasn't what we needed, or maybe it shouldn't have gone into the cannons first. I think for the equivalent amount of value, we would prefer to have just a Bull Centaur out there. And if you want a Bale Taurus, I feel like it's almost always better to just put a Bale Taurus, like the Lord, on the Bale Taurus, because like what can Astrogoth do that Bale Taurus Lord can't, plus healing. So Bale Taurus can be really good. Yeah, so a really good game. So going into the second game, we have Peon on Khorne, and we have Rukfang on the Beastmen. This matchup is actually like a pretty classic matchup. A long time ago, Houseplant was playing this matchup a lot. And so it's almost like a battle of the Minotaurs. I'm not sure both players will have concluded that. But Minotaurs always feel sort of like the crucial piece of the puzzle in this matchup, because Minotaurs seem to kill everything except for Minotaurs and a couple other things, so we'll see.
If you live to return victorious, then you may regale each other with your stories of bravery. But now, we fight.
That's nice, Valkia. Thank you for adding to that. Okay, so we'll just do the quick intro bit here. Trader Kingdom Devolve. I actually don't like... Oh, Devolve's a good spell. Sloutner and... yeah, so we are Khorne. We'll do Khorne first. We've just loaded in. We have our horsemen. We have our cap weight. We have pretty wide front line. What can we see? Well, we can't see anything right now if we're Khorne. But assuming that you could see, maybe I won't even assume that. you can see that this is being captured, so there's probably some combination of Ungor raiders and Ungor herds. I think we like that fight where we can't see the great weapon. So I think you're fine. Just capture point 1, capture point 2, and then I would wait if I was Khorne before I see my enemy. I would wait to see what they have before I choose what my next summons are going to be. And then if you're Rukfang on the Beastmen, assume for a second that you can see most of this. I think we're fine taking shots at the Ungor, at the horsemen, and I'm leaving these 4 in the trees until I probably would also wait for to see what else comes out of the trees. It seems like a waiting game for both armies. You might even want these raiders ahead, so we just do some poke. Given that there's a Chaos Warhound, we might want to get a something to screen that so we can shoot a little bit. We can play this like pretty skirmish heavy from Beastmen with all these archers. Yeah, and because you're Beastmen and you don't have the points, it's probably worthwhile maybe rotating some of these forces over here to try to take this without taking any melee damage. I like this unit in this matchup. This unit makes a lot of sense. Centaurs will dunk on it, but if it can get onto archers, that's really nice. And then a lot of the chaff is pretty fragile. Are we shooting? So what I was saying earlier was basically, let's just, as the Beastmen, let's just make a little circle right here. We know that we have basically brawling units, so there's no real reason to spread the fight, because we want things to be centered around the Morris Engine and Flock of Doom. And if you're Khorne, I think you're doing the right thing, which is I want to force the fight to occur everywhere. This is a great call-in. I'm guessing Peon just summoned it because of the Incarnate Elemental. We need to keep these alive because they'll be really crucial in killing the Incarnate Elemental. Sloutner, I don't know if Sloutner just went off. Let's see. Sloutner will one-shot Ungor Raiders. Okay, the engage has started. There's been a little bit of rotation. We figure out which one of these the Chosen are. We want the Minos killing Chosen, or we want the Incarnate Elemental killing Chosen. Yeah, this is nice too. From Rukfang, basically we're trying to prevent arrows going on the Elemental, and so this is what we're using these for. I think we'll lose this fight pretty unhappily. Coming back to what I was saying about having a tighter structure. Also, if the archers, one last comment about it, if we're this as the Beastmen, then we have a secondary line of archers here, maybe a little further up. They can ward off a lot of the marauders and be kept safe to continue to shoot. Otherwise, especially because the Khorne has so much more infantry, they'll find paths through. And I think the summoning Pestigores makes a lot of sense because we want to have more infantry to fill in these holes. It might be a little bit too late, but perhaps not, because these Minotaurs will still do a lot of damage, and I worry for Khorne that the Minos will get here a little late. And also, like, with the combination, like, maybe we don't want to take this fight near the Minos. Because we're going to get the Incarnate Elemental plus 2 Minos into, like, maybe 1 Mino with kind of limited supporting infantry. It's also a great time for a Traderkin. I think if you're Khorne, you might even want to sort of back off a little bit. Like, don't engage with the Fleshhounds, don't engage with the Minos. Just pull back a little bit after you've broken some of this stuff. Maybe move this guy over because he's good into everything here. And just, like, be content to kill everything there. Just take your time to, like, smash these pockets because, yeah, like, rear charge, keep here, that kind of thing. And force the fight that you want, which is away from the expensive scary monsters. It almost looks like Peon basically just executed that plan that I mentioned. We'd be greedy, capture point 3, move away, and then I'm not a big fan of the dogs, I think. I guess they're here to kill archers, but it seems like they've struggled to do that. So, like, this Warhound unit hasn't got on him. This one has gotten stuck in the gore herds. I say we don't need so much mobility. We probably want another Minotaur if we have something to deal with the Minotaurs. Maybe if you're Rukfang now, you're looking to summon the Senegor throwing axes to toss at this. So there's a lot of, like, vulnerable elements in the infantry. Like, it kind of makes sense, but they don't do much on the Beastmen. They kind of just sort of stand there if they're not the Pestigors. So you have to be, like, trading up pretty heavily with the other stuff. Also, these Minotaurs should probably be spread out. Probably shouldn't be fighting together at this point. But this is a nice pick. The Beastmen into the Chosen. This, like, blob into the Chosen. The combination of these three should do a lot of damage to the Chosen. Gobble. It's good use of Relentless Rage. And some nice rear charges. So this would be a good time to have Centaurs. This is a similar idea. I think Razorgors are fine too. Maybe Centaurs are a little bit better, but not a bad choice. Also, Flock of Doom. This is very scary for Beastmen. In fact, this almost looks like this could be game breaking with the Relentless Rage, making these Chosen like an unbreakable wall. This, like, single play feels like it could break the back of the Beastmen, because now that the Minotaurs might get a rear charge with so much supporting stuff, it kind of feels like at least one or two of these units will die. Maybe the Incarnate Elemental will be fine, but yeah, Traderkin makes this whole plan not really work out. See how the Traderkins have been so far. It's not really that impactful. The Gobble. Yeah, those were really nice for Relentless Rage. Because it kept the models in the game, more importantly than the and now it looks to me like the Beastmen are kind of a little too scattered around. We've kind of turned into little pockets of fighting, and because Khorne has so much more mobility and Beastmen have range units. The Beastmen want to shoot at Khorne. Khorne wants to gobble the range units, but there's not enough supporting. Even this one should probably be over here. There's not all three of these archers, I think, or four of these archers are about to die. But yeah, this was a really nice play by Khorne. The Traderkin? There it is. Although, you don't have to be that close to cast it. I fear for this Bray Shaman's life. The Traderkin wasn't overcasted. Traderkin's definitely one of those spells that you want to wait for a really good blob and then overcast it. Let's see what the... Probably averages 75, so it's almost twice as good for only 9 more winds of magic, or sorry, 7 more winds of magic. So it's, you get twice the damage for not even, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70% more. You only need like 2 or 3 Traderkins to swing a game too. It's one of those spells. But yeah, so I would say probably at this point it's going to be really hard for Beastmen to come back because this position looks pretty solid for Khorne. We don't have a lot of infantry for Khorne, but we still have some healthy-ish ones. This thing is still a problem, but it can't be everywhere at once. So I assume what Khorne can do now is just sort of like isolate these pockets and when on points just bounce away from the incarnate elemental with anything that like really wants to fight and continue to shoot at it with these kind of things. It's not to say that Beastmen have no chance, but I think a combination of Gore Herds and Razor Gore, I just like don't think that there's going to be enough DPS between these two units to make the fight at this point. Oh, and the Lord is routing. Break this pocket. It's a good awareness of what's happening with your Lord. But is he routing or is he shattered? Shattered. Beastmen is definitely one of those factions that like really need their Lord alive. I think it's done reasonably well. So yeah, so now we rotate the fight back over here. We could even send one of these 2 Minos to go double check keep the elemental beast in check. Yeah, a very clean game. Also, I would like point out that the difference in value really only changed greatly in the past few minutes. So it was like this one big pocket that I think turned the tide, and also the like chain routing of all the archers at the same time. So yeah, so I would say in summary, I'll probably fast forward through the rest of the game. In summary, for the Beastmen, I think you want to be a little bit more compact so your archers have time to shoot and not be overwhelmed, and also to have the incarnate elemental like fighting on your blob, especially with your 2 Minos. Like there wasn't much in the Khorne army that could deal with them at the time. I think probably the Rukfang had a better army in terms of the composition, but had worse summons with the Gore Herds and the Razor Gores. I'd probably trade out some of those for Centigores and maybe Centigore throwing axes. All the Pestigores are nice, and maybe a couple Gore Herd. Maybe like a couple Gore Herd, a single Razor Gore, that kind of thing. But then just like try to brawl as much as you can on one point and say, Khorne, you should come fight me. And I think what Khorne did really well here was, first of all, fight wide, find these angles into the backfield with all of your infantry and swarming. And then also like kind of staying away from the blob until the one point over here that that the blob that like one good play could crush the blob. So it was a really good awareness of like that critical moment when the blob like could be killed, and using that that army ability, Relentless Rage, at like a clutch moment. That was really nice to see, but really well played by both players. The Chosen are doing so much damage to the Incarnate Elemental. Why is it doing so much damage? You would think that this Incarnate Elemental would be like particularly well suited at killing Chosen, but it seems like it maybe needed to have some more support, and with really low melee defense, the high melee attack of and weapon strength of Khorne, these Khorne Chosen were able to chunk it down. That's really interesting to see.
One of your units has been destroyed.
I think if you're Khorne at this point, you don't need to engage your Minos very much. You just summon infantry to waddle onto points.
One of your units has been destroyed.
Honestly, a desperation play from Rukfang at this point again might be Centigore throwing axes to just chuck at Minos and chuck at vulnerable infantry, but it probably is a little too late for shenanigans. Interesting to see the Razor Gores actually do a lot of damage to the... Oh, or maybe it was the archers. Bloop. I mean, the Minos make sense too. These things have already done a lot of work. But, like, we don't have anything to capture points now.
I knew it. Unending
So a good game to
glory
both. I'll
is
just
your
show the values real quick of the units. Start with the Beastmen. This paid for itself. I know it's a little less, but still did well. Ooh. And the Khorne, the Chosen were very good. Throwing axes maybe missed opportunities to shoot more, but they did pretty good at like rear charging things and breaking position, so they maybe were just used for a different purpose. Marauders did marauder things, which is to say badly. I wonder if in this matchup you actually want some of the Khorne warriors, but I do like how wide this was. I felt like it did a good job shutting down some of the backfield. And then the trades with the Minos probably were the most like essential parts of how this all went. Yeah, very good game for both players. Okay, so I'll be back with the next one soon. All right, take care.